Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's Billy Merritt, and I'm live. I'm live here with my producer, Smith. Smith, it looks like you have a microphone today, Smith. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right, so we can get some. We've been relying on him for a lot of things throughout the show, and now he's mic'd up. Today, I have a super guest with me. Here's the deal, guys. I come to you live every single day, live at 11. Billy W. Merritt, and my job is to bring you experts. My job is to bring you people who can help you, get you some good information. Here's the problem: we live our lives being filled with so much bad information that we walk around and we do things we shouldn't do. What happened? Oh, that's okay. And my job is to get you access to some good information. Well, today's a money show, right? And I'm all about sales. I'm a salesman's salesman. I'm a salesman's advocate. Today's guest is a sales expert, a best-selling author. He's ran dealerships. He's trained salespeople. He is a branding expert. As a matter of fact, I think that's what his book's about. So we're going to find out about that. And let me go ahead. And who do we have today, Shawn? Smith?
Shawn Hays.
Shawn Hays, my man. Thank you, brother, for taking the time. I know you're busy. I know you're always impacting people. You're impacting salespeople daily. You have your own live show. Busy guy, having a lot of fun, making a lot of money, and making a difference. Welcome to the Billy Merritt Show, sir.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Well, Shawn, I know we haven't even talked before until right now. You know, we may have messaged each other back and forth, but I know who you are, and that's because you know how to brand. So I know your brand. Before I met you, I know who you were. And, you know, I want to jump right into it. You know, I only bring on experts on this show. So you, sir, are an expert. Tell us exactly what your book's about. Let's start with that best-selling book that you've written.
Well, it's called Build Your Brand.
Yeah.
Basically, very handsome guy on the cover there too, by the way. Build Your Brand's basically just about that. To get what you want out of life, exposure is key. And a lot of times people don't do the necessary things to get enough exposure to either sell their products or get where they want or get the network in their life that they need. And I believe exposure sells. Exposure helps get you what you want out of life. So that's why I basically made the book called Build Your Brand. The interesting thing about that, Billy, is the reason why I made that book is because on Facebook, I think it was March of 2017 was the first time I ever had a Facebook account. And I decided at that moment, I was going to create Shawn Hays, Your Car Guy, and ride that brand all the way to where I am today, making multiple streams of income, getting to the point where I'm dealer principal. And it all happened in 3 short years.
Okay, so Shawn, you said a mouthful already, and I'm going to go ahead and get into some we're not going to dance around and you know, talk about your story. We already have established you're an expert, you're an author. So you said something in your first paragraph there. Get what you want out of life. All right. I deal with people all the time in the teams that I build. I try to let them know that they can. I'm a firm believer that you can get what you want out of life. Now you tell me, do you really believe that? Because when somebody says something, I ask myself a question. Do they know what they're talking about? And is this the truth? And then if it's the truth, I go all in on that. And if it's not, I ignore it. So I'm gonna ask you again, do you think that you can get what you want out of life?
Absolutely. 100%. I'm living proof of it, man. I was a salesman sitting on the showroom floor in a dealership, and a kind of a failing dealership, to be honest with you, 3 short years ago. So if anybody can set goals, provide discipline and some routine and structure in their life, and keep focusing on that every day and work towards it every day, I did it. I literally did it. So I have the blueprint, and I'm not somebody just telling you how to do it, or they've heard somebody did it, or they've researched gurus that did it. I literally implemented a plan, and here I am today, living proof that it can be done.
Awesome, man. So I tell people every day, my people know, Smith, you can chime in and tell me and tell the audience if indeed this is the truth. I tell my people every single day, number one, you can get what you want out of life. And number two, it's going to be hard, but be very careful who you take your advice from. Is that fair, Smith?
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely fair.
My guys, I tell them all the time, be careful who you take your advice from. You're a salesperson. You're the car guy. Well, dude, I am a car guy, and I love car guys. So is it, you know, we have salespeople watching. We have salespeople that follow us. I have salespeople here in my office. So it's possible to go from salesperson to best-selling author, writing a book, reaching some of your financial goals, maybe all of your financial goals in a 3-year period. Is that what you did?
That's exactly what I did. Well, the key to that, Billy, is you got to have some short-term, some mid-term, and some long-term goals. You also have to change a lot of your routines. Now, look, the routines you're currently doing or have been doing aren't getting you to where you need to go. So you're going to have to change some things up. You're going to have to challenge yourself, and you're going to have to apply some disciplines in your life that you may currently not have, but know that you need to put in there. Then you have to, there's a lot of things you got to do, but those are the first 3 things you got to affect and change right away. Then you have to look at your current surroundings. If you can't get your goal where you're at, then you got to figure out, okay, if I can't climb the ladder where I'm at, then I know I need to build a ladder. How do I build a ladder to get still where I need to go? Because a lot of times there's a lot of people that are going to watch this that are in a dealership or a business right now where they have a threshold of where they can go in that business. Whether it be the people above them don't believe in them, or the people above them aren't going anywhere, and there's no maybe that dealership isn't growing enough to have need for new positions, right? Whatever it is, if you are not finding the ladder where you're at, you're going to have to go out and create that ladder. And that's what I saw. I was limited where I was at, but I still had goals in my life and where I need to go. So I said, okay, I got to build the ladder, and that required exposure, because I'm going to need to get enough people to know that the value that I can bring their business. And that's what I did.
So you said you were a dealer principal as well?
No, well, I am a GM now.
Okay.
And January 1, I buy in for partnership at this dealership. Correct. I will be a dealer principal as of January.
That's amazing. Congratulations, man. That's a big deal. And every salesperson, that they struggle with sales and branding and marketing. And you tell me if I'm true. I'm of the belief that each salesperson, they have an individual business, that they are the business. They're in the business of that brand, if you will. And it's very important to understand that. You've said exposure several times already. So if you will, tell me if I'm right. Do you believe in individual branding for sales people? And if they are indeed a business, and what they need to do to climb that ladder if they are in the right store?
Absolutely. Okay. And I was one of the first people out there that started branding myself. I started Shawn Hays, Your Car Guy. It was literally me inside of a business. I'm a business inside of a business. And we all got to think about it that way. Look, they provide you everything. They provide you the internet, the lights, the phone. They provide you the leads, which are expensive. They provide you everything you need. All you got to do is show up, structure your life in a way that you can become a business, right? And then you got to give the effort and show up, right? And that's really what's important. Now, you can do all that, and you can gain more sales. But I had a different idea, Billy. I didn't just want to gain more sales. I needed to be able to contribute more to the industry, firstly. And secondly, I wanted to get where I am today. And I knew I couldn't do that. So I didn't use the internet and Facebook and branding just to sell more cars. And a lot of guys do that, and that's fine. But my goals were bigger. So I knew I needed to expand my, as you said, again, I said it again, exposure. I had to get a bigger network. I had to have more people know the talent I had, because honestly, you can be the best salesman in the world, Billy, but if nobody knows who you are, right, then what good is it?
Right.
So that's the way I saw it. I was really good, really talented. In fact, I was number one in my dealership for 10 years. Like, there was nobody going to beat me there. But at the end of the day, that wasn't my goal. My goal wasn't to be the best person at that dealership. My goal was to own a dealership one day. And the only way I was going to do that is get more people to find out who I am, the talent I had, and the dedication to get there. And so I really believe that you really have to be number one, the best at what you do. All right. So if you want a promotion, raise, you want to become where I am one day, you got to get really good at what you do. Okay. So don't just say, hey, exposure is everything. No, exposure is important, but you got to be good at what you do. You got to provide value to your public. You got to provide value to the dealership or to whoever's making those decisions. Right. And a lot of people, they try to skip all that. Right. And they just want to go right to it, but that's not going to sustain it. People are going to see through that. You're going to fail. Okay. So you have to build on your craft first. But once you become the best at that and you still have loftier goals, that's when you have to really, really focus on the things that are going to get you there.
So, it's fair to say, I think I'm hearing you need to be great. You can't just be good. I mean, so many people just show up and they think that they have a little job when indeed they are the business. If they look at this from your perspective and the way I look at it, I'm a brand. All I got to have is a clean shirt, maybe, and a pen, and I can show up and get whatever that 25% of the profit, or I can share in the profit of this business if I show up and I'm great and I can exceed. Then I have something that's worth branding and promoting. Is that fair?
That's true. That's true. Now, it's going to take a lot of discipline. You're going to get a lot of no's, and you have to be very driven. Okay. It's not just going to happen. And understand that was 10 years of me being on the sales floor. Mm-hmm. Now, I got there in 3 short years on using social media to my advantage. But at the end of the day, I'd already put in the time, man. I'd put in the time. I'd put in the expertise. I had the craft down. I just needed, okay, now that I got that part, let's go to the next level. And I think a lot of people want to shortcut that, and they just want to jump right to the end. But they don't understand all the things I went through and all the challenges I had over the years to get here. Okay, it seems quick to them, Billy, because they only knew me for 3 years, but they don't understand all the grinding I did before that.
Mm-hmm. That's perfect. The next question I was going to ask is how do you feel about sacrifice? You know, so many people want that shortcut. You know, I deal with successful salespeople, or I should say, I deal with very talented salespeople all the time, and you know, they see someone like you, and they see someone that's having a lot of success, and they say, "Man, I'm that good." They don't see the sacrifice that you put in. Tell me about, what's your thoughts on sacrifice?
Well, that was the next level. That's when the next level kicked in, Billy. Okay. I'd done the same thing for a long time. I didn't get better overnight. I didn't wake up one day and decide to get on Facebook and all of a sudden I'm a better salesman. No, that had nothing to do with it. What happened was I just started to discipline and structure my life in a way that successful people do. Right. And that's what I wasn't doing before. I was still good. You could throw me out on a sales floor and I'll outrun everybody. I'll work them and then I'll outsell them. But at the end of the day, the things that were missing in my life were the important things that really got me here. Okay. Structure. I started structuring my life as a successful person. I went from getting up at a random time to waking up every day. And I have for the past 3.5 years at 4 a.m. Okay. A number one, 4 a.m. Spend 1 hour on my mind, 30 minutes on my mind to make sure that it had positive reinforcement in there and the ability to go through tough times. And then the other 30 minutes was practicing my craft. So every morning I spend from 4 to 5 on my mind. All right. Then I took 30 minutes, start putting it on my body. So I spend 30 minutes working out. It doesn't have to be strenuous. It doesn't have to be, but you got to get the muscles going. You got to get the body moving. You got to get that blood working for you. Right. Then I would show up. Instead of showing up at 9 o'clock, what time all the other salesmen were showing up, or even 8:30, I showed up at 8 o'clock every single morning. All right. I'm before everybody. Now, I went live on Facebook, Billy, for 3 straight years at 8 a.m. doing a live video. All right.
Out on the parking lot to begin with, right?
Out on the lot. Now, why did I do that? A, I know I needed exposure, but B, that discipline and that accountability kept me on that routine every day. Every day. I had to put that content out. People were expecting me. They were waiting for me, right? So I was helping my industry, A, but B, I was really helping myself with the accountability and the structure and the routine that I need to get to that next level.
Okay. So you said that you design your life with discipline and making it look like what successful people's routine looks like. So I'm gonna go back over what I heard there. Get up early and basically at the same time every day. And I think in another video, I saw one of your videos where you say do everything early. And if I see that theme through here, so you're going to get up early, 4 a.m. every morning. That's very early. You're going to spend 1 hour on your mind, programming your mind. Okay. You're going to work out. You're going to get to work early, and then you have a routine that makes you accountable where you go live. And this is all by 9 a.m. We haven't even got through the rest of the day.
Right.
So if you will, tell me what it means. And I think this is the best way we can help some of these salespeople is to show them what the day of a successful person looks like. And I believe that what you're describing here that you do is very much like what many, many successful people do. And that's why you did it. Is that fair to say?
I looked at all the big CEOs of companies and the people that I admired, and I watched their videos on YouTube or whatever. That is who I structure my life out of. Why? Because success leaves clues. And at the end of the day, if they're leaving the clues for me, I'd be stupid not to pick them up and follow suit. Now, what happens a lot of times, Billy, is the people that reach out to me in the DM, which you should see how many people do, and comment and want me to help them or coach them. I had a private coaching for a long time where people paid me to do this. The problem is they just wouldn't do the things that I was doing. They wanted the benefits. They wanted everything I had. They wanted the multiple streams of income, getting promoted. They wanted all this stuff. The problem was when I told them what it took to get it, that is where it was breaking down. Okay. They weren't willing to put in the work that I put in to get the results that I got. Now, I think that's a very common thing in the world.
I think so. So, I tell people all the time that goals are important. I've yet to have a guest on here because I only have successful guests on here. I've yet to have a guest on here that did not say that it was important to have goals and write them down. Do you believe in writing your goals down?
I do. And actually I voice them on Facebook, which really helped me. That first day I went out, you can probably go back and see the first few videos I did. I said, here's why I'm doing this and where I want to get to. I told everybody, I want to be I want to be a dealership principal. I want to own my own dealership. I want to be a GM. I want to work my way up the ranks. And this is my goal. And within 5 years, I told everybody within 5 years, this is where I'm going to be. And I did it in 3.5.
Okay. I'm so glad you brought that up. So there is, I don't think anybody has all the right answers, but I do agree with you on that. And now I have seen, we talked about criticism. I've seen you talk about criticism. So many people want to keep their goals private. And the fact that you were bold enough to stand up in front of the camera on Facebook Live when you're a salesperson and say within 5 years, I want to be a dealer principal or a GM. Do you think that that's the right path for everybody? And like, obviously you're very capable of handling criticism. There's no way you posted that as a salesperson didn't get a little bit of criticism, if not straight out ridicule for saying that. So how do you deal with criticism, and how do you suggest that someone else deal with their goals and criticism?
Well, I use that stuff as fuel. It doesn't bother me, man. I just looked at it as like, whatever. Not that many people rooted against me to my face or in my comments. They might have done it behind my back. A lot of people, especially at the dealership I was at. There's an old school dealership, and I'm out there doing videos every day, right? And so I did get ridiculed. Don't get me wrong. But at the end of the day, even if you ridicule me, I don't care. That stuff doesn't matter. That just means that you don't see my vision. You don't think of yourself in that capacity. You don't have that kind of courage, or you don't have that kind of heart that I got. I got a grit and a heart. I'm born in the Midwest, and I just come from a different cloth, man. I fight, I persevere, and the things that I've been through in my life allow me to have a grit that maybe some people don't have. Now, can you learn that grit? Yeah, probably. But at the end of the day, I was born with the determination that when you tell me I can't do something, I'm going to show you I can, right? Mm-hmm. And I knew I had the talent to do it. See, that's the difference. I knew I did. I had the confidence in myself. I knew what I was doing. The problem is a lot of people that'll watch this today are just not in the right situations, mm-hmm. right? Timing is everything. And being in the right situation, knowing the right people, having the right network, that is very, very important. So your discipline is very important, man. Remember, I told you, you have to have enough people know you're talented. So if you don't have it where you're at, you got to expand it, right? My network is very large in this industry now. If I lost my job today, I'd have a job equal to in 10 minutes. Why? Because I've built enough network in this industry, right? I really believe that a lot of people don't do it. They don't stay consistent with it, Billy. They'll go out and do one video. They'll go out and do a couple posts, and they want instant recognition, or they want this consistency that I have, but they can't get it because they don't put in that time, man.
Well, I totally agree with you, man. And I know that your mindset's different. You have a winning mindset. I can tell that just from your videos, from your posts, from following you on social media, but I can tell it from this conversation as well. Now, you say you spend 1 hour working on your mind. Do you read a lot? Where are you getting? I believe we program ourselves, and that's why I read every single day. And my they look similar to yours, not 4 a.m. But how important is it to feed that mind with good information? Where do you get that good information other than where do you get your good information?
Well, I mean, think about this, man. If you're driving a car and you need to put gas in it, but you keep putting sand in it or diesel fuel, but it's running on regular fuel, you're going to have problems. And a lot of times we're going to work and doing our daily days, and we haven't put our freaking energy in our mind. And our mind is the most important tool we have, but yet we're putting in diesel fuel when we need to be putting in regular fuel. You're sitting there watching all this negative stuff. You're sitting there watching all this junk. You're watching the Housewives of Atlanta, right? You're filling your time with just crap, right? Yeah. If you want good outcomes, you have to have good energy in it, right? So I put, I go on YouTube. I spend a lot of time on YouTube. I'll go to Eric Thomas. I'll go to Grant Cardone. I'll go to Les Brown. I'll go to all the people, the Zig Ziglars. And I just eat, man. It's like food. I just keep eating. I don't get enough of it, right? And then when I do get to work, and think about this, man, the most successful people in my business fail 6 out of 10 times. If that's the case, and I got all the service problems and, angry customers and tough employees and all the other things, if we have not been prepared for that, you're going to get off track, man. You're not going to be as successful as I am. Why? Because I've been feeding that mind with the good stuff. So when I get that problem, I can take it and I chew it up. I'm like, okay, done with you, man. Right? And I got the right mindset. I don't get into that negative funk. And if I do, I'll go put something else good in it. And I think that's the important thing. So read, YouTube, there's plenty of free information, man. I can see how people could get negative back in the 70s and 80s and 90s. Man, we got so much information at our fingertips right now. There is no excuse. And then the only excuse you have is because you don't want to put in the time and the effort into it.
Yeah, man, I totally agree. So I tell my people every day, I said, so this is a challenge, and maybe you can help my people who are watching this. I said every single day, our job is to solve problems. So I'm an optimist and I'm a very positive person, but we have to wake up in the morning and prepare ourselves, mentally get prepared. I recommend writing their goals down. I recommend that they get some type of positive podcast in, and maybe they'll follow you. And what time do you go live every day? Are you still doing that?
No, I go live about 3 times a week now at 8 o'clock. Okay. I backed off that just a hair, but I always have positive posts out there. Okay,
so you guys follow Shawn.
I got 3 years worth of that content out there. All you got to do is go on my timeline. There's enough there that keep you busy forever.
There we go. So we're gonna get some good information every day, and then we're gonna start looking for problems. So we're looking for problems, not to roll around in them, but to find a solution. So what do you say to my people who are listening and watching? How do we look for problems to solve without going negative?
Well, you just got to make sure that you come up with solutions instead of wallowing in the problems. A lot of times you can waller too long in the problems and they just stall you. I tell anybody that knocks on my door, I got an open door policy, and when I talk to everybody all the time, but you better come, if you come with a problem, you better come with a solution. And I tell everybody that, right? So focus on the solutions, not the problems. A lot of times we as people, we focus on the problems instead of the solutions. I want you to reverse it. Okay. Understand that there's problems and there's always going to be them, but focus more on your time and your energy on the solution to that problem, and you'll be far ahead of the competition.
All right. I can deal with that. Let's look at some of the comments there. Smith, we got Ray Mucci, he's a car guy. Brady Roberts is a car guy. Sarah Stalker, she's a Colorado car girl. And let's take a look at Ray Mucci's his last comment right there. Put it on the screen, if you will. Something about those Midwest car guys' work ethic. We're getting to the lot at 8 a.m. and shoveling snow. So Ray Mucci's out there in the Midwest as well. And there I have seen I've met a lot of tough-minded people from the Midwest. And I think that you think that it's beneficial coming up in a tough environment like that?
I do. Well, I mean, I like hiring Midwest people. I really do. They have they're grounded. They're kind of normal, right? Kind of normal. They come from, tough surroundings. When I was growing up in the 70s and 80s, man, my area was thriving. It really was. Steel was big, coal was big. Now man, it hit a section where we were dirt poor, man. Everybody in my town was poor. Everybody was poor. And it just puts a different understanding on life, man. We don't, I'm not babied. I don't baby anybody, and I don't expect you to baby me. Like at the end of the day, we're grown people. We got problems to solve. Let's go solve them. We'll put a team together here and we conquer it. And that's kind of, and I hold people accountable and I ask them to hold me accountable. And I really believe that's the difference in a lot of businesses. The lack of accountability is really holding people back. It's holding businesses back. And, it's okay to just be honest with people and tell them your expectations and then hold them accountable. Because if you don't, your dealership, your business will fall apart. Truly will.
Absolutely, man. So where did you grow up? What city? Are you a rural area or metro? Tell us where you
grew up in Canton, Ohio.
Canton, that's a pretty small town, right?
Yeah. It's not like Cleveland or anything, but it's just real poor where I'm from. Canton, Ohio is pretty poor.
Okay, and where's home now?
I am Richmond, Virginia.
Richmond.
So I went from climbing up the ladder from Kentucky. I worked at Dan Cummins there to with Glenn Lundy. I was in Florida, worked at a couple dealerships. So I've been all over the country a little bit, but I'm home now. Finally got to where I needed to get to, and I planted my roots here now. Is
Richmond a very big city, or?
Yeah, it's the second largest city in Virginia. It's got about 275,000 people. Okay. So it's fairly nice. We live a little bit outside of it called Chesterfield, which is about 15 minutes outside there. So my wife likes the suburbs a little better.
Okay, somewhat rural, somewhat suburban where you guys live.
Yeah.
Okay, so man, I tell people in in 2020, I've never been more proud to be from rural Georgia, where people are, like you said, kind of normal, because, there's a lot of chaos in the world right now. And these metro areas are not something that I admire anymore. I mean, I know.
I'd be scared to death, to be honest with you.
I'm telling you, man, I love being from rural Georgia right now. And I'm sure, Virginia is very similar. So,
Billy, if you don't mind me saying real quick, another thing, just to give your viewers a tip here, the most important thing, since this is the money show, I want you to understand that why you have to get so good at your craft and get exposure, so you can get multiple streams of income. Okay, this is very key. All right, and back then I didn't know this. I was selling cars. I thought I was doing really well at my dealership, and the people I was around, I was doing well. The problem is a lot of us are comparing ourselves to the people around us in our area, instead of comparing us to our own potential. So even though I was very successful on the outside looking in, today when I look at it, I was like, man, I just didn't know any better, right? So that's why I spend every day telling people, like, look, you got to understand where you're going right now. Living in the car sales is not going to get you to the point where you have financial freedom, you have the wealth that you want, right? You have to get multiple streams of income. So what I did is decided to get really good at what I do, right? Become an expert in my field, parlay that into exposure, parlay that into a book, parlay that into coming up with my own conference with me and Glenn Lundy called Hustle and Grind, start my own Facebook group called Sales Hustlers, which branches off many different facets of making money through there. You got to have multiple streams of income. Every day morning when I wake up, I look at my bank account and there was money while I was asleep, right?
Yeah.
So this is real estate. It's another thing, flipping houses, however you want to do it. You got to have multiple streams, because if you only got one, you're not going to get wealthy. You're just not.
Okay. I'm glad you brought that up. This is the Money Show. It's the Monday Morning Money Show with Billy Merritt and Shawn Hays today. And we've got a lot of comments going on. Thank you, Matt Pridemore, Sarah Stalker, for reaching out. Thank you. They're big fans of yours, Shawn. So tell us, let's break it down. Let's give 3 to 4 simple steps. You kind of mentioned there, but to someone who's a good salesperson, I'm going to commit to being a great salesperson, but you just said financial freedom. Do you believe in financial freedom? Do you believe that a salesperson can become financially free? We already talked about what that looked like, but can we get some bullet points? What can I do to establish myself financially free and to taste that good life? And how do I get multiple flows of income? What's the first few things I should start focusing on?
Well, some of the things we talked about today. First of all, you got to find out what your goals are, right? Mm-hmm. Just saying I want to be financially free or I want to make more money is not a goal, okay? Mm-hmm. It's not a goal because there's no path to get there. You got to understand what your goal is. So once you see the destination, kind of like a bullseye, once you see the bullseye, it's easier to target that bullseye. You go to a dartboard at any bar in America and you just throw your darts at the dartboard, they're going to hit random places. But if you can zero in on a certain target like that bullseye, you're going to come closer to hitting that bullseye. So first of all, you got to get your goals in place. You got to know what they are before you can have a path to get there. Second thing, you're going to have to change your lifestyle. You have to put some structure in. You got to put some discipline in. There's going to be some sacrifices to maybe the way you live and to the things that maybe you think you want. All right. You're going to have to. All right. Third thing is you got to sit your spouse down. All right. If you have a spouse or a better half, you've got to sit them down and explain to them what your goals are, what's going to be required of yourself and them to get there, and ask if they're on board. And you got to get their commitment, just like a car dealer. Do you see the value in this? Can I get your commitment to this? Because I'm going to have to do some changes and sacrifices, and maybe our relationship's going to sacrifice a little bit here or there, but the end outcome will be okay. All right. Then you got to do all the other little things, the discipline, the getting up early, like structuring your life differently, showing up work early, showing up for things differently. Then you got to become the best at what you do. Like, don't settle for second. Don't be okay with it. Like, change your attitude towards that every single day. Focus on becoming the best you. A lot of y'all got to look in the mirror and forgive yourself for your past, man. A lot of y'all got to deal with some of your demons, because when you, even if you get to that point where you're doing all the right things, you can't accept it. You can't allow yourself to be successful. You self-destruct and all those other things. You got to get okay with you, right? You got to get okay with who you are and forgive yourself from all the stuff. And that's very important. And a lot of us don't talk about that side of the business, but it's very, very important. You can't be healthy in business if you ain't healthy person, right? You got to get to that being healthy. And when you allow yourself that, when you allow yourself that forgiveness and that freedom and that you just kind of open up and change. If you got any secrets in your demons, Billy, you got to let them out, man. Got to let them out. You got to talk about them. Got to get them out. If you got to go to a therapist, you got to go be open on Facebook. However you like to do it, you got to let it go, because that'll hold you back.
Shawn, you said, man, there's some, everyone needs to go back and start this thing over from the beginning and watch it again. There's so much good information. As I've said before, there's good information and there's bad information. What Shawn is bringing you today, as Bob Gaska said right there, is straight fire. There's some tons of great information that's worth talking about and repeating again. You said, look in the mirror. And number one, when you look in the mirror, you're taking responsibility for where your life's at. It is your fault, or your, it's thank you that I made it, or either I got to work on myself. So take responsibility for everything. But then I love this part. Not many people talk about this. You got to forgive yourself. If you've made mistakes, and you can't waller, as you say, in guilt, you got to be able to take responsibility, but also forgive yourself.
Absolutely. It's so important. And a lot of my lives have to do with sales, but a lot of them have to do with the person. I was on a long freaking quest, man. This hadn't been easy. It took me a long time to get here. Hell, I was a troubled guy all the way to 32, 35 years old, literally troubled, very troubled, right? And the point too, I got to the point where I had to get this stuff out, let my childhood go, figure out, hey, where's the main problems? Talk about it. Let it heal. See, a lot of times we hold it down, we shove it down, we keep it hidden. And the problem is that doesn't heal you. And then when you get that success, you self-destruct, or you can't sustain it. It's not long-term, it's short-term. And once you can get to the point where you're like, okay, when you talk about something, Billy, that's when you become free of it. You get it? It don't control me no more. Yeah. So I got to the point in my life where I became healthy. And when I was healthy and I had the right discipline and structure and talent, right, when I combined all those things, then I was like, boom, man, that's when it hit for me. And that's when I could sustain it. Like, I've been doing the same thing for this long. Look, I ain't going nowhere. Why? Because it's in place now. I know what to do. I know how to become successful. I know how to stay there. And because I'm healthy.
Awesome, man. So let's talk about sales hustlers. That's a term that's thrown around quite a bit as hustle. There's a lot of hashtags about hustle. So let's talk about what exactly sales hustlers is. Where did it come from? And man, it seems to be quite the phenomenon on social media right now. Yeah,
we got 18,000 people in that Facebook group, and it could have 100,000 in there, Billy, if I wouldn't, but I only allow car salesmen to be in there. That's it.
Mhm.
Think about that. So you got 18,000 car salesmen across the country, all sharing ideas, supporting each other. It's just a Facebook group for that. And originally why I did it is I was doing these videos every day and there were so many people following me, but I felt like there was other people that could give value as well, right? So we started a Facebook group and everybody was, in there helping everybody else, right? So that was why we did it originally. Now, the cool part about that is and I would tell anybody that if you have the ability to start a Facebook group, why wouldn't you, right? You can do it for your sole customers. You can do it for your friends. You can do it for everybody. But if I write another book, I got anything I want to pitch, I need anything, we got a new conference to pitch, I got everybody in one place. I don't have to go out there and make 1,000 calls and spend all day calling people. I got everybody in one group. All I have to do is pitch the idea, put the book in there. Why do I keep selling the book? Well, I don't spend $1. I ain't spend nothing. All I do is I sold 4,200 copies because of Facebook, right? I put it in the group, publicize it. I put it out there. I ask for reviews in there. That person will see it. They buy it. At the end of the day, what I'm saying to you is a Facebook group is really good for your business. All right. Secondly, what is sales hustler? Sales hustlers to me means of the hustle. Okay. It's not the hustlers of years old where that's like dirty words. I'm talking about the hustle gene. Do you got the hustle gene? Because it requires to get to where I got to, okay, was hustle, grinding, hustle, right? And so that's really what the group is about. It's about the people that are on the grind every day, right? And that's me. I'm on the grind still, man. And that's the key thing I wanted to also talk about, Billy. When you do get to this level, a lot of people kick back and put their feet up. Okay, they do. I've seen it a million times in this industry. They get promoted. They get a sales manager. They get a finance manager. They get the GSM. They get to the next level. They sit there and now they coast, where that's the wrong idea. Now's where you go all in. Now's where you like double down on that. Now you're like, look, now I can grow and build a team and help others grow. And that's what pushes you up.
Yeah.
So I saw it as an opportunity also, Billy, starting this Sales Hustler Facebook group, not only to help my industry and the people in it, but I knew what would happen is I'd become an expert in there because it was my group and I was putting the content in there that they would push me up and build me up.
Yeah.
Right. And when they built me up and built me up, they would share it with their managers, their general managers, their GSMs. I was getting people all over the country and knew who I was that never would have known me before. So that's why it was so important.
Such a great point. You touched on a couple of things there. You touched on, I'm telling you guys, go back and rewind and watch this whole thing over and take notes. But you touched on building a group and adding value and putting content in there and then allowing those people to push you to the top. In my opinion, that's the best sign of leadership. If you see, now you have a track record. Now right. You have a winning track record. So what now? If you double down now and you've got all this support, you've got all this fuel, imagine where you're going to go in the next 5 years. That to me is such amazing leadership when you're able to empower people and let them push you. And right. What I've done many, many times, Shawn, over the years, I'm 45. I'm not sure exactly how old you are, but I've built several very powerful teams in dealerships, and I would let them push me right on up to the top, man, to where somebody could do it as good or 90% as good or 80% as good as I could do it. And I wasn't needed anymore. And I have trained so many people in so many dealerships that are general managers, finance managers, sales managers, GSMs, and that's so. There's going to be, I've received a lot of criticism as well throughout my career, but no one has ever criticized Billy on his training. They always try to hire and recruit my people because they're the best trained, they're the best prepared, and I'm very thorough at building great teams. And then if those teams don't need me anymore, then why should I hang around? I could go into bigger and better things. Right.
Well, my team's amazing because they buy into me. Yeah. And they know that I put everything I got into them. See, my job's not to grow my sales staff, right? Even though that's what I'm doing through osmosis and through management styles, but that's not my job. My job is to grow my people, my managers. And when I grow my managers and I cultivate and I push them and I hold them accountable and I show them what leadership is and I show them that, that when you have a lot party and your ass is out there helping them move the cars, okay, that is the type of management that people follow, right? So when I grow them in that way and then they move on, which I told them all, my job is to get you to that next level and I push you out. Okay, I want to push you out of the nest, but you better leave this place better than when you found it, and you better train your next person, and you better push that person, and you better grow that person. So every day, all the managers, they come in to grow the people. And when that happens, man, we got such a dynamic place to work right now, man, because it's like Google back in the day, man. I really feel like that's what Google and some of those companies, those Silicon Valley dealerships or people were doing. They grew their people. They invested in them. They kept it small, right? They pushed them, and it kind of breathed like a heartbeat. And that's what we're doing. It's amazing to watch right now, actually.
That is cool, man. And so counsel me here a little bit. I've got a very fast growing business. We're one of the fastest, I think we're the fastest growing software company in the car business. Now we're definitely our marketing company. We grew from one event per week. I do event style marketing for dealers. We grew from one event and one employee, me, to now we have almost 50 employees. I'm hanging right around that 40, 48, 49 employees. We've worked with over 1,700 car dealers nationwide. We're doing about 50 to 60 events per week. Okay. And I've made a commitment to invest in my people, invest back in my company. We've yet to have two declining months in a row. Like if we have a super July, we may be not quite as big as that in August, but in September will be ahead of August. We've never had two declining months.
That's good.
We've never beat the last year's month. This month we're doing more than we did last year at this time. But my challenge, of course, I think a lot of people face this, is finding or getting. I do believe that people will buy into you before they buy into your vision. So if you're not worthy of buying into, like you said, your people buy into you, then you're going to have problems. But getting them to see that big vision, because I know when you took over the dealership, you didn't just say, "Hey, we're going to do a little bit better. We're going to do big things." So, speaking to me and to these managers and to these GMs out here, how do you get that buy-in? How do you build that culture of growth? That you said your people's job is to grow the other people. Help the high performers. We got to get our people performing, man. How do you keep buy-in from your management team?
Man, okay. There's a lot to it. Okay. It's not any single one, but I will say this, that they're not going to buy into you first day. They're not going to buy into you the first week. My GSM who buys into me and, now, but I've been here 7 months, Billy. Okay. It took me time out on the front line. It took me in those hard late nights and those early mornings. It took the failing and then overcoming. And they watch you. They watch your actions. They don't listen to your words. They watch your actions, right? They might listen to your words after they watch your actions. But once they watch your actions and they see, look, you can't go close that person. Give me the paper. I go out and I close it, right? I send you with numbers and I coach you. I don't yell at you. I bring you in. I say, here's what you need to say. Okay, listen to me. And then I say it to them and they say it back. And then they go out there and then they have success at that, right? And then the next time something happens and I go out and I solve the problem for them. Look, it's a daily thing. It's daily proof in my pudding. And that's when they buy in. Now you can come in with a beautiful vision, and I did. And I told them how it was going to be. But remember, they've been in a dealership that was failing for a long time and they heard all that stuff before, man. They heard it. They heard it till they were blue in the face and nothing changed. Okay. And then I come in with a different energy that some guy on Facebook, right, that Liza brings in here, and who knows if he knows what the hell he's doing, and who knows if he's going to follow through on his promises and the things that he says every day. But when they see it happen and they see little changes, and I tell them to look for this. Look, here's our short-term, our midterm, and our long-term vision. Watch for these things along the way. When you see these things happening, you'll know we're making strides. We're making moves. And you can't be scared to make the hard moves, right? You invest in your people, you check your processes out, and then you make sure your profit lines are good. And when you do those three things, man, the whole place will turn around. Now, I tell people all the time, and which I do, this is a freaking Titanic. You cannot turn the Titanic immediately. It takes a little bit of time. I understand. That's why I give them short-term, mid-term, and long-term goals, right? Because if they're just focused on that long-term goal and they don't see it happen in the first 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, they might start fading out on you, right? But we have to have little wins along the way, little goals, little excitement, right? And I'm a GM that's a little different, Billy. I'm out on the front. I'm out the front constantly. I don't sit in this office.
Man, I just wrote that down. I just wrote it down, not to cut you off, man, but just listening to your answer there, I can tell you're a great coach and you work from the front line. I think if more people would work from the front line and be a leader from the front line, and again, you said it takes time and to set the proper expectations. So, I mean, I didn't mean to cut you off, man, but I just
you're absolutely right about that.
Leader. Yeah, man. So
you're absolutely right.
Have you always been a frontline leader? When did you realize that you have?
Yeah, I've always been a worker bee, man. I've always been a worker bee with tremendous people skills. I've been a worker bee and a person that gets things done, but I've always had great leadership skills. And I believe in team, and I believe in teamwork and bringing people together. Like, that's always been a talent of mine, right? So I know that, but I'm just a freaking salesman, man. Right. I spent how many years out on the front line? Yeah, you know what I mean? Great ideas I had over the years, and I go to management, and management will poo-poo them. Yeah. Right? Because they don't either want to put the effort in or don't want to change things, but I knew they needed to be done. I just kept those all in the back of my head and said, when I get my chance one day, I will do all the things that I want to do that I know are right. And I won't do all the things that I've seen wrong during the years. Right. And they're obvious. They're obvious. And I don't even understand why businesses do them. I don't get it. It blows my mind when I see them do the mistakes they do over and over and over and keep repeating the same processes when they're broke. I know, they're broke. Why do you keep doing them?
I know.
Why do you keep putting these people in place, Billy? Keep putting these people in place that or leaving them there too long when you promoted the wrong person, or you hired the wrong person, or they're not the right person. You know it, but why do you leave them there, man?
I think so many are in denial. I don't think that they really know it. They're in denial, and they cannot have that perspective and say, I made the wrong decision. And that Shawn, here's what they can't say. Shawn was selling cars 4 years ago. He is not smarter than me. I've been doing this for 30 years. They're not willing. They have become the status quo, and you and I am a disruptor of the status quo. And that's why that's why it looks like overnight success when we just accelerate, because there's so many people sitting out there that when they hear Shawn talk, they say, yes, he knows that right there. So, it's a testament to great ideas and being open-minded and programming yourself with good information. And, I was surprised for a long time, but I have come to the conclusion these people, they're not taking these dealers, general managers that are having failing stores, they're not willing to take responsibility. They want to blame the other guy. They want to blame the salesman, blame the managers. And that's why you are on the beginning of, that's why your trajectory is straight up, and I think the sky's the limit. Before I let you go, I got to let you tell me about Hustle and Grind and what you guys have done there, how that came about, and if in this pandemic, if you hopefully soon post-pandemic, if we're going to get any more of those things.
Well, Hustle and Grind was started. Actually, we took Sales Hustlers and Glenn Lundy's Rise and Grind, and we were good friends, right? We're good friends, and I had a event called the Rockstar Auto Conference, and I was speaking at. This is before all this happened. I was 6 months on Facebook. I wasn't a manager yet. I barely had a Facebook group. It was only like 5,000 members, I think, at that time. So anyways, they asked me to speak. I fly out there, and Glenn Lundy flies out to meet me. And we rent this big, huge freaking, mansion out in Vegas. I did. And I said, hey, if I get this mansion, how many of y'all sales hustlers will come? 40 of them flew out. I think it was 47 to be exact, and stayed in this huge mansion with me. Right. Wow. And Glenn Lundy flew out, and in a hot tub one night. Okay. We're in the hot tub, and I'm like, why don't we do our own conference? Hell, we're going to this one. We're speaking at this one. People are coming here to see us. Why don't we do our own? I got your group. We got our group. Right. So we put it together. And that next April, we created our own. And we had, I think it was 580 people in there. Eric Thomas was our main speaker. And then we had a bunch of people through the auto industry. And man, it went off. People left that, came home, and all they could say about it is it changed my life, because it was the first conference that I'd ever seen in the auto business that wasn't just speaking to getting better at car sales. It was speaking on how you have to become a healthy human, how to focus on the other parts of your life, human growth, right? Because you can be successful, bro, but if you can make all the money in the world, you can sell all the cars you want, you can be at the highest level in this industry. But if you're not healthy, you don't know how to spend your money, you don't know how to save your money, you don't know how to have a healthy relationship, you're missing all your kids' events, you can't get along with your wife, you're divorced, you're drinking too much, you're doing drugs, all these things are going to lead for you to be failed. And that's what a lot of times in our industry, they don't focus on. They only focus on the sales, but they don't focus on helping people become real good people, you know? And I believe I became a better salesman the day I became a better man. And I want to give back to my industry in that capacity. So it's not just sales related, but it's trying to help people grow as people.
I love it. I absolutely love it, Shawn. Become a healthy human. Be a better man. And then if you can learn some to model your life after successful people, have some structure, be willing to make some sacrifice, get up early, feed your brain for an hour a day. We didn't talk about working out, but you said, you know, it's important to work out and to get your body going, and then get to work early, be the best you can possibly be. I mean, how it's impossible to fail if you do those things.
That and a lot of you guys want to move up in your company. Okay, you got to make sure that you put yourself and paint yourself in a situation where you cannot be denied. Next opportunity comes up, how could they look at anybody else? You're doing all this stuff and nobody else is. How the hell could they ever overlook you? And that's what I tell people is be the person that cannot be overlooked.
Yeah, man. So, Shawn, I know you've got over 5,000 Facebook friends. So where can these people who are watching and who are going to watch this in the future, where can we get more of your good information? Where can we follow you? We want to make sure that where can we get the book, man? We want to get your message out to as many people as possible. Where can we find and get more of Shawn Hays?
Well, if you're in the car industry, you need to go to Sales Hustlers, okay? And just try to get into that group. I'll let you in as long as you're in the car industry. That's number one. You need to get in there so you can share with other people that do the same thing you do. You can learn from them. But my Facebook page is Shawn Hays, Your Car Guy. That's Shawn, S-H-A-W-N, Hays, H-A-Y-S, Your Car Guy. Just hit follow. You'll get to see all my stuff. Yes, I have 5,000 friends and I can't get any new friends in there, but just hit follow. You'll get to watch all the same content. You can go in there and watch all my content, which is great if you're in sales. The other thing is if you want help in building your brand, okay, get my book here, Build Your Brand. And it's real simple, okay? www.buildyourbrandthebook.net. Right there, you click on it. It's actually free, okay? The coolest thing, all you got to do is pay the shipping and handling, okay? So go to that, www.buildyourbrandthebook.net, get your free book. You pay shipping and handling, and it'll come right to you within 7 to 10 days.
Hey, are there any plans for the next Hustle and Grind, or are we still in limbo?
Yes, that'll be well, we've had to postpone it. It's been postponed twice now. Okay. But the next one, I think we'll be good if we just push it back to April of next year, and that's where we're headed. And if you've never been to Hustle and Grind, Billy, I'm gonna tell you what, we get 15 huge mansions in Orlando, right? Huge. I mean, you know, we're talking $10 million places, and we just load it up with the people. Everybody stays in the rooms and we congregate together. Obviously there's a convention. We travel over to the convention, comes with your dinner every night. We all get together. It's kind of cool because you go house to house hopping, right? And every house is a different environment. Every house has different people. And it's pretty amazing. And ever since we did that, now everybody tries to duplicate that because it was such a hit.
Hey, when you have a hit, people are going to copy it. That's a good thing. I'm definitely going to be copying. I'm going to be copying. I've already taken notes. I'm going to copy some things that you have made work for you. Maybe I'll get up a little bit earlier. Definitely going to focus on that, working more from the front lines, guys. We ran out of time, but Shawn Hays has been an amazing guest because he is full of good information. He fills himself with good information. He duplicates that through his managers. And for some reason, he's willing to take an hour out of his day and get on here and share with new people. He's building his brand. I'm sure that's a part of it. And we want to continue to help him build his brand. Follow Shawn, give him some likes, share this video. Thank you again so much for coming on here, Shawn. Can't wait.
Hey, Thank you very much.
And I will see you at your Hustle and Grind when it's there.
All right, brother. Thanks. Thanks, guys.
All right, there it is. Another hour gone just like that. Billy Merritt Presents. Today we presented Shawn Hays. Tomorrow, I'm not sure who we have on the show. It's going to be a sales expert. And then Wednesday, we're going to have April back. Thank you so much, guys. Like and share this video. Thank you, guys, for making the comments. Thank you for sharing this video. Thank you for spending this time with me. I'm honored. I'm humbled. I appreciate it. Tomorrow morning, we're going to talk more about some sales and how to be an expert. I know a few things about sales. See you tomorrow, live at 11. Billy Merritt.